We're sharing our stories, we're revealing our truths, we are healing from our sharing, and as a result, we have created an awesome community for us to connect with. Those are our 4 pillars. And so you heard a lot of what was said. If you read any of our books, or as you come to read our books, you will find that we don't bash the military. That's not what this platform is for. This platform is for healing. Not only for the writer to heal, but for those who read our stories to heal as well. As women in the military, we carry a lot. We carry so much. Sometimes, a lot of times, we don't talk about what we carry, right? We just carry it, and we stand strong. We hold our shoulders back. We put a smile on our face, and we march on, because that's what we do. But sometimes the load gets heavy, right? And so you need a place to release, and that's what we use writing as. We use writing as that release point to release it, not only for ourselves, but to let other women know that it's okay. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to reach out for help. It's okay to let another sister who understands your journey know that these are the things that you're struggling with. And so we, like they already mentioned, we hope that you get the books and that you read them and that you can definitely connect and share them. Share them with another sister in arms. So thank you, ladies, for sharing that. So as we move on in our questions here, what do you want people to know about women veterans or women serving in the military? I'm gonna start with Dia down there.
Can you repeat it?
What do you want people to know most about women in the military or women veterans? And give the people, before you answer the question, give the audience a little bit of background of your military experience. You can tell your rank, you can tell how many years you did, you can tell some of your assignments.
Okay.
You can talk about whatever you want to talk about, but then answer the question.
Okay, so that's a great question. I served as an engineer. So many people don't know that women served, and I did 30 years. So that means that back in the late 80s and early 90s, women were engineers. And that we were serving in war as engineers. I want people to know that. And doing our part. So we're here in leading. I was a leader. I served all the way up to Command Sergeant Major as an engineer. And that service was great. It was a great ride. I want people also to know that the assignments that I got, partly in the beginning, were because there were limited places I could go as a female engineer. So a ton of my time was done at Fort Hood. Good training grounds, boy, I tell you. Every leadership situation you can have. And every training situation you're gonna have it at Fort Hood. In a good way. It started out in construction, but as Soldier 2020 initiatives were implemented and combat exclusion rules were officially lifted, I became officially a combat engineer and became the first female to serve in a brigade engineer battalion, which was formerly reserved just for my male counterparts. So that's what I want people to know about females in the military, that it's not a new thing that we're serving in these combat positions. It's just new officially. It's new officially, because I've been around for 30 years and I just retired in 2019, so it's been around a bit.
So I served on both the enlisted and the officer side. So on the enlisted side, I served until Staff Sergeant as E6 as a combat medic. And then I went to school during my time in the military to the AECP program, Army, the AMED Enlisted Commissioning Program, and received my Bachelor's of Science in Nursing degree. And then I commissioned as an officer in the Army. And so I retired as a captain, after 20 years of service total. During that time, I was a pastor's wife, a mother of 2, and, many other things. And so what I will say as a woman serving in the military, we are more than what you see. we have many different roles and responsibilities and different hats that we wear. And when you see a person, when you see a woman in the military, don't just see her as a soldier. She is so much more than that. And we have to take her for all of her worth. And I had forgotten who I was. Let me take that back. It's not that I forgot who I was. I didn't know who I was when I joined the military, and coming through all those things. And so, but we are diverse. We have many different things, and so, but we are important in whoever God has created us to be. And so that's what I want women to know. We are everything below God, of course.
I served in the Army, and my initial MOS was a 63 Bravo, light wheel vehicle mechanic. Okay, look at the nails. Okay. Of course, I didn't have the nails when I was in, but I did serve as a mechanic, and I know a lot of people they refer to that as a guy's MOS. I worked it well. I'm a parts installer though, okay? Troubleshooting was not my area, but the point is I still did the job. I still went in there. Even though I failed, I still got back up, and I still was able to complete any mission that I had. So what I would want people to know about women veterans is that we served, we survived, and men are not the only one that served. Just like Shirley Latour just said, that we are well diverse. I was a mechanic. I could also rock and roll as an admin. I could also rock and roll and do urinalysis, okay? So I did a variety of things in the military, but my first MOS was a mechanic.
Great evening. I served 21 years and reached the rank of Sergeant First Class. What I would say about veteran women, we are warriors. We have many roles, different responsibilities, from wife, mother, leader, you leading soldiers, you got to go back home and lead your family. So I would say we are warriors.
Hi, I would say that we are resilient. I was an 8A Mike in the military. I was a truck driver. So like she said, with the nails, hey, look at my nails now, look at my hair. I didn't have that then, I had the cornrows. I served 4 years. It was cut short because me and my husband was doing military, and the war had just began, and we had to make a hard decision. We had kids involved, so guess what? My husband, he was already hitting over 10. I had 4, so we made the decision that I got out. But when I got out the military, he was a strong supporter because I have a little story. When I enrolled at Mary Hardin Baylor, go crew, we both walked into the nursing office, and the nursing advisor looked at me sort of funny. She was like, "Who is that?" I said, "My husband." She said, "Oh, that's the first time I've seen a spouse come in here and took interest in his wife's studies." I said, "Yeah, that's my supporter right there." So he stuck by me, and like they say, again, as a woman veteran, we are resilient, we are strong, and we can survive anything. Because right now, after completing, I think my associate, my bachelor's, master's, doctorate, we can survive.
I was a finance soldier. I think it's 36 Bravo now, but it was 44 Charlie when I served. Finance, what I want, the Army's motto now is Army Strong, right? So you have all you can be, Army 01 and Army Strong. At least those are 3 I fell under. We don't want to be strong all the time as women. I don't want to be strong no more. I don't want to be independent. Like, I don't want to pick up heavy stuff. Like, yes, sir. Yes, man. Do that. Show me, because like when you're so accustomed to doing it by yourself or having to be everything for everybody, you lose, like, I lost a lot of feminine qualities about myself. Like, why you look so hard? Why you gotta be so mad all the time? And I would go back and look at pictures. I never smiled. I had to teach myself how to smile. You know, so now I'm always smiling. I'm always, hey, get the door for me. I slow down on purpose. You know, when before my mindset was like, I can do this on my own. I don't need your help. Yes, I do. You know, that's me.
What I would say is, to me as a woman, is to have a mentor and to have someone who knows something about the military before even coming in. I came from a family with a bunch of military men, and when I was talking about joining the Army, you know, all my uncles and my dad and everybody's like, what, you want to be a man? Why you want to go into the Army? You know, that's what everybody was saying. But I think having a mentor is important, because I did a lot of things a very long way, because I stayed in 30 years also. But before I came in the Army, I had 3.5 years as a math major, and I had an associate's degree already. So starting from the very beginning, I didn't know everything. So what did they tell me? They tell me, oh, you have an associate's degree, you could come in as a PFC, you can come in a couple ranks above everyone else. But instead of saying, well, if you just finished that one semester that you had, you can come in as a second lieutenant, as an officer. So right from the very beginning, not knowing, not having a mentor, I took a long route, because I did 30 years, I did 10 years enlisted first, and then 20 years as an officer. So I started out as a medic, and then I became an operating room technician. Then I went and became a licensed practical nurse. And then, like the young lady down there, I went through the Army Enlisted Commissioning Program, where the military sent me to get my bachelor's. So after having 3.5 years in math, I decided I was going to start all over again and do a completely different job. So then I became a registered nurse. And then I got my first master's, and then I got a second master as a nurse practitioner, and I got a doctorate in healthcare systems leadership. And so I think a big thing, I would do a lot of things very differently if I would have had guidance and mentorship, because a lot of things in the medical field, we are women heavy, but in the rest of the military, it's men heavy. And a lot of direction that you are given, you don't always get as a woman. And just if you don't know, you do things very differently than if you would have had a mentor and someone to tell you the easier, quicker, direct track to get to where you need to be.
Love it. Got some season over here. I think I'm the youngin' on this table. Panel. Dang, I am. Anyways, us youngins was holding it down too. But I served 10 years Army in places such as Heidelberg, Germany, Hawaii, deployed to Iraq, and then Fort Hood. And I said that because where I went, I'm always learning. And everywhere I ended up, it was a continual learning process, especially come from Houston, Texas, all the way to Heidelberg, Germany. It's cold up there. I'm cold right now. So, like, I don't like the cold. But just the transitions, you're always learning. And you definitely need to remember that internalizing that learning process, you're not going to know everything up jump, like out when you first come out there. And you got to be okay with that. And you got to not hold that pride to try to make it work when it's not working and you really need that help. You need to communicate that, hey, I need some support, I need some help, I need some guidance. And you need to take that guidance, especially when you're a youngin' like me. So I'm talking to the youngins and the yahoos. That's what I call my soldiers. If you a yahoo, you know who you are because your NCO done called you that. Like, you gotta be able to listen and you gotta be able to take that wisdom that somebody's giving you, because Me and Lila talk about this all the time. Them yahoos calling me right now saying, hey, sorry, like I understood what you were saying back then, but they didn't get it when we're talking to them. You know, and I was a Yahoo when I was a PFC, and so I understand it too. And I talk to my NCOs that were trying to get me to get a clue, you know, when we're younger. So always learning, and do not internalize, because if you internalize those things that you don't know and you don't get the help that you need, you struggle go the long path, and you don't even have to. So that's what I got.
Right, thank you all for sharing. And so for me, I served, I liked everything you guys said, and I could relate to a lot of what was shared. I served 22 years active duty in military intelligence. And so, as you can imagine, military intelligence is one of those fields where there's not a lot of minorities. There's women, but a lot of times I found myself, the track that I went up was mechanized infantry. I was on the tactical side of that. There's also a strategic side of that, but my career path went tactical. And so a lot of times I found myself as the only woman in the room, the only black woman in the room. And like Shirley said, we have to know who we are. We have to know our voice. And it's a learning process. I came in as enlisted. I came in, I made up to rank of E6. And then I transitioned to warrant officer. And so again, the thing that helped me was mentors, like Anita talked about. I had great mentors from the beginning. I had great role models in warrant officers. That's why I transitioned to warrant officers. I worked with some amazing warrant officers. I was like, who are these majestic creatures? Who are you, Chief? Wow. Like, they were a wealth of knowledge, and I was like, that was my example. And I wanted to grow and learn and be like that. It was a learning process, like you said, a learning process. And sometimes you got to take the long road, and the military was changing as they were transitioning out, and I was growing up in the ranks, and I was, you know, had some hard lessons to learn. But again, like somebody said, don't be prideful. I learned from my privates. I told somebody the other day, I was sitting next to my private because I was military intelligence again, so we always got new equipment. I would sit next to my soldiers and be like, show me what this darn thing do. We're gonna sit down today for sergeant's time. I'm taking some sergeant's time today. You're gonna show me what this computer does, so that when I give orders, I know exactly what I'm telling you to do, and I know for a fact as the chief what this machine can do. So I'm not telling you something that you can't do with it. And so I put pride aside. I was never, too prideful to learn from my soldiers all the way up to the general. And I just had a great career, but I knew how important mentorship was. I knew how important it was to surround myself with people who had my best interest at heart, and I knew what it meant to place my pride to the side and to be teachable. And so with that being said, let's talk a little bit about mentorship. Because in our very first book, Revealing Struggles of a Black Woman's Military Experience, we talk heavily about mentorship. Because a lot of times our mentor experience is ugly in the military as Black women. There's a lot of competition. Sometimes that mentor is just not there, is absent. Sometimes it don't pan out to what you expect it to be. So let's talk about our mentor experience. Ashley, you want to take off?
Kind of goes back to what I just said, but allowing those individuals that take you under their wing to receive that information. But I definitely was always trying to make sure that the next generation coming up behind me would not have to suffer anything that I experienced in the military. So I mentored in that aspect by training and teaching those that did crazy stuff, like, hey, you can't do that, because I may receive it. I've been in for a long time, like over 10, if I'm in 10 years, like I done seen it, everything. And the people that trained me coming up, we didn't ask questions. We just moved. And the new generation, they're asking more and more questions. They're a little bit more different, and they don't jump as fast. But it's different, and so you gotta be able to be ready to receive that information, but you also gotta make sure that process is gonna work for everybody coming up.
So I think as I was coming up,
Well, actually, let me go back. Now they're actually trying to implement some mandatory mentorship programs. But mandatory isn't always the best thing either. Because you and that person have to have some kind of chemistry and mix and need to work together. But there was a lot of times where people would hide information from you. I learned there was a difference between an officer and enlisted, you know, and then you had the double whammy on top of it of nurses eat their young. So when you were an officer, it was like you were always competing, and so people hid information. Sometimes Caucasian people would just share information with other Caucasian people, but they didn't always share information with you. So there was an organization called the Rocks that helped to mentor and lead African American officers. So a lot of times I found I got more information and mentorship through that organization than I did from other nursing counterparts, or and there was a lot of line officers there. So I got a lot of information and found out a lot of things that I needed to do from the Rocks organization that I didn't always get from other people. But I looked at those things to be a different leader myself. So I took the things that I saw were really good in the leaders that I looked up to, and I'm like, I want to be like them. And I used those same things that were really negative from other bad people to be like, I never want to be like them. And so I'm going to be a different leader. So there was also different organizations, like we had the Junior Officer Council. So I got really involved in that. And so I was a president at one time. And I did a lot with them to help mentor other people coming up. So what I didn't see, I tried to be myself to make sure I made a difference with the people coming up behind me. Because, you know, as when you learn a job, everybody is taught to be a soldier from the beginning or an officer from the beginning, and then you are supposed to be specialized in your craft. So you kind of have to learn how to be a soldier, an officer, and then you have to specialize in your craft. So I think if you don't get what you need, or if you can't seek out someone to make sure you are different yourself. But I do know sometimes also as mentors, sometimes Caucasian people, they would be a little upset when we did mentor each other, and they don't always like that. So I'm just be the change that you want to see from other people. That's what I think.
I had indirect mentors. That makes sense. Like in the finance world, the assignments that I had, I'm looking back at the assignments that I had, like I would take bits and pieces from this leader, and that molded me to the leader that I am even today, right? And so even to the point where my soldiers, who way past outrank me, call at times like, hey, Samar, how do you do this? How do you do that? I'm like, okay, bro. I gotta tell you some choice words sometimes, but knowing that even in 2022, the impact that I had on those people by me mentoring them, you know, showing them how to take care of soldiers regardless of the situation that they're in is so important. You know, I'm thankful that I had the sense enough to take the good, the bad, and the ugly and create an environment, or create an environment for me that transcends even to today to soldiers that aren't even my soldiers anymore. You know, so I found that very rewarding, as well as letting the soldiers know that in this climate that they're in now and how things are being ran in the military now, you don't have to do that, because the NCO Corps has a foundation. It doesn't change. You know, the people might change it, but the foundation remains the same. And so that's what I talk about mentorship.
Okay, hi. Well, when I was in, I didn't have a mentor. So It was PLDC. Y'all know about that? Remember the old language? It was PLDC, you know, so you go to PLDC, you know, you with your group, you come back, now they're expected for you to lead. I was expected to come back as a new E5 to know everything. I better get out there and lead those soldiers. So for me, when it comes to mentorship, I treat people the way I want to be treated. So I did not come in as a hot-headed E5. I came in as, you know what, hey, I'm learning. So guess what, we're gonna learn together. When you get the new soldiers, you know, or whatever the case may be, the new privates, I didn't try to turn my backs on those guys. I made sure I was there, I listened. And when, like she said, you know, when things go wrong, you have to make sure you can point them in the right direction. So as a mentor, you have to also be a human. You can't just sit there and wear that rank on your shoulders and, you know, hey, I'm E5. You know, you have to still remember those are soldiers, and you guess what? You are taking care of those individuals. That's all I have to say.
Good evening. Like she said, mentors were not available during my arena. So you had to teach what you had been taught. You had to guide and lead and set the example so the soldiers would know to follow the right example. So you had to make sure you was up front and you were leading them the right way. So that was our mentor program.
I didn't have a mentor. Being a mechanic, there were a lot of males, and the few females that I did encounter that were senior enlisted, they were a lot harder. Sometimes I almost wish I just had males. I don't know what the logic was behind that, but the females were a lot harder on other females. And you would think that they would put you under their wings, teach you, show you, guide you, but that was not so. I did have maybe 2 male NCOs that really talked to me. I think one really could talk to me because he had 5 girls. So he was like, listen, I know what you're going through. But he was always there to teach me a lot of life lessons that I did not know, because I was young when I came in. I came in a week after I graduated from high school. And what I learned is there are a lot of people making rank, PLDC, you go to PLDC, and you're expected to go and lead soldiers. But a lot of people, they didn't even know how to lead you as an NCO because they made the rank so fast. Or some of them came in as an outlet, you know? So a lot of us did not have the capability of leading someone because we were lost ourselves. But like I said, there was not any that I could say as a mechanic, not any females, put it that way, not any females, but I did have 2 very great male mentors as a mechanic.
For me, starting off as an enlisted soldier, I'm an observer, so you may see me in a corner somewhere, just looking around or minding my business. But I'm an observer, and so I took those things, what I saw leaders do that I didn't necessarily appreciate, and make sure that I did not turn out to be that type of leader myself. And I did have 2 female NCOs. They happen to be African American as well. And so when I went to apply for the AECP program, I had already been in for, I want to say 9-10 years at that point. And I didn't finish the program until I was almost and got commissioned until I was almost at 14 years. So, but during that time of transition, when I went to go put my packet together, one particular female, she pulled me aside and she had applied before and she didn't make the program, but she was big enough to bring me her packet, laid it all out for me. and walked me through the process.
I missed a lot of time growing up with my family. My mom left us a lot of time. And abandonment is a heck of a thing to kick, especially as a grown person just now processing it. And so I was running from being abandoned so many times. And I was in Air Force ROTC, so I knew what a team looked like and what having a group that is continuous for you looked like, but the Air Force didn't take me. So I also went Army. But I went reserve first too, and after basic and after AIT and came back, I was looking for my reserve unit hard. They were looking for me, and I called my recruiter, and I was like, listen, I don't know where this unit is. It's in Conroe. I've been contacting them. I haven't started doing anything yet. I've been here for a year, but during the time I joined, it was Hurricane Katrina. So on top of that, my mom's still on drugs. I come back home to the same thing. I can't do this. I can't keep doing the same thing over and over again. I gotta have something better, and I know you can do something better. I'm talking to me. You can do something better beyond what you see. And it's a difficult thing if you don't process it right. And so when I joined the military, like Marsha, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I tell my brothers and sisters that today because I missed a lot of time that I hurt for right now. Because I don't got no memory of being with them. I got zero memories of being with them. But all I can do right now is make new memories. That's all I can do right now. And I cried so much, I probably ain't got no more tears. I just came from home yesterday, 12 a.m. I just got home yesterday. From making just a memory of going to a ball game with my nephew, stuff I don't even know of my little brother had. I don't remember none of that. I don't even think I was there. And so sometimes you gotta run from something to have the best you show up. And I know I'm Miss Positivity now because of the military. I am who I am now because of the military. And I hurt a lot, and I'm still hurting, and I'm still processing. You better go to behavioral health if you need it, because you need it right now, and you don't need to bottle that stuff in. But I know I'm getting better because I lean on my sisters when the day is hard. I lean on them hard when the day is hard. And I'm thankful for the mentors that helped me throughout my military career. Like Shirley was saying, there's so many angels that pushed me out of the way of danger every single moment of my military career that Knucklehead Ashley wanted to show up. So, yeah, I was running from, but I'm better now because of the military. So it definitely molded me, but I had to get out of that situation and I had to grow from it. And I don't think I would have grown from it if I would have stayed there. It probably would have killed me, because chapter 4, Behind the Rank, volume 4, I talked about my process of wanting to commit suicide. And I know this world will not be good without me.
Well, I would say both, because I'm from Chi-Town, the South Side. So I was running away from the hood. But I would say it was honorable to serve, and I would say it helped me to get the opportunities that I needed, education, training, stuff like that. So it was running away from the things that the street had, and I didn't want to be baby mama with 5 or 6 kids. So it was the best thing for me to leave Chicago and not, lead down another path. So I would say I was running towards the opportunity for a better life.
I grew up in a small town, Carthage, Texas. Shreveport. I was running, but I cannot say that I was running from the hood. I had a nice little life. I lived in low-income apartments, but my mother cooked every day. Every time we came home from school, we had a meal. I didn't miss going to sleep because she made sure we was in that bed on time. I had to be in the house by the time the street lights came on. Like, I had a normal life. I was in a lot of extracurricular activities, but my town was small. So with being small, sometimes they have small minds. And I wanted to go to Howard University, and I just couldn't see how I would get there because that's an out-of-state fee, and my sister's 3 years behind me. We live in low-income apartments. How's this gonna happen? Didn't think about financial aid. Why somebody didn't talk to me about that? Okay, so I didn't think about it. I was just like, okay, I do not want to be a burden on my mom. And I remember the recruiter used to always come to the high school. You know what I used to do? Go get a pen. I don't want to talk to y'all because I'm not going in the military. But guess what happened? I raised mine because I needed them at the end of the day. I had to go somewhere. I just felt like I wouldn't do anything if I stayed there. So I came into the military. I actually got to play basketball and while I was in Korea, I was on the area, Camp Casey area basketball team. I got to do a lot of things that I did when I was not in the military in school. So I ran from something to find better things. I made great connections. I still communicate with people I served with to this day. Even if we don't talk every day, it can be every 6 months and we just pick right back up. So I gained a lot of friends, long-time friendships while I was in. So even though I ran, I was able to connect.
I am from Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I won't, like Miss Brandy was saying, I'm not going to say that I had a bad life. There were some things that, could have been better, but my parents did for me the best that they could. Out of us, there were 6 of us children, and out of all of my friends, my parents were the only ones that was married. And so for them, they looked up to my family, but I could see from the inside out. We always looking from the outside in, but we don't really know what's going on behind those closed doors. So there was a lot of struggles in the home at that time. And so that recruiter came to my high school when I was in 11th grade. So it looked real good. That, delayed entry program that I was in for 11 months, I couldn't wait to raise my hand and to get out, because even as a child, I wanted to be a registered nurse. I wrote that in my high school yearbook, that I was going to be an Army nurse. And so when that time came, and I actually didn't find that yearbook until about 10 years later, and I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, I wrote this in my yearbook. So it manifested, and so, but I needed another way. Like she was saying, I didn't know how I was going to get to college. And that's one of the points that the recruiter was talking about. They know how to make their quota, right? So I wanted to become a registered nurse. Now, I went the long way about it because they said, oh, they'll send you to nursing school. That's not quite true. There's some steps you got to take. So I started off, like I said, as a medic, but I eventually did get to where I wanted to go. But running from and to something all at the same time. When we leave from one place, we got to fill it with something else, right? I won't go there.
Hey, this is why we love our sisterhood chats, right? And we say sisterhood, but we don't see each other all the time. So when we get together, and we don't all know each other all the time. So I'm loving this. And I'm from Flint, Michigan. So and I was doing good. I came in the military 22, almost 23. And I was in college, and I had them semester. I came in a PFC, but I was okay. But I wanted a little bit more. I was a little bit more ambitious. I wanted a little bit more stable income, I think, for me. And I had military members in my family, so I wasn't foreign to it. It was a very spontaneous decision, but I knew the streets of Flint were going to swallow me up if I stayed, because I was in college and I had a good job, but I was still hanging with some people, in the early 20s that was going to swallow me up. Not so much with kids, because even after I got married, I wasn't thinking about no kids, but I'm just saying, them streets will swallow you up, even with a good job and in college. You can still get caught up in some things. So I would say I was probably running from the streets, maybe. Running from the streets so they wouldn't get me. And great decision. Great decision. Fun decision. 30 years went by fast. And it was great. I had fun.
Thank you, ladies. Are y'all enjoying this chat? Yes. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna transition to our last topic, and that is leadership. And so as women, I feel like we bring uniqueness to our roles as leaders. And I remember one time in my career, I got in trouble for bringing my uniqueness to my leadership style. And I remember me and one of my senior leaders got into it, and he fussed at me one time, and he was like, "Chief, you gotta stop coddling those soldiers. Stop coddling them. They're not your children. Stop coddling those soldiers. You babying them." And I said, "Well, sir, you call it coddling. I call it being an approachable leader, because I know everything my soldiers are going through, because they come to me and they talk to me. Now, I don't know if that's coddling, but today we're gonna have to agree to disagree, because I'm not changing my leadership style. These soldiers need to know that I'm human, just like them, and that they can trust me. And I know when somebody's off. I know when one of my soldiers is off, so I'm gonna pull them to the side and say, "Hey, you kind of off today. What's going on?" And I find out that he's having issues with his child, or he's having issues with his wife, or she's having trouble conceiving. And so they confide in me as a leader, and I'm able to help them through whatever challenge that they're going through, because I'm human. I've gone through challenges as well. And so we going back and forth, and I'm like, "Sir, we just gonna have to agree to disagree, because it's not coddling. I call it approachable leadership. I'm an approachable leader. They can trust me with their secrets if they're struggling, if they have issues that they're dealing with. And you might not like it, but it works for me." So I remember that getting me in trouble. And I feel like sometimes as women, our counterparts, male or female, will make us feel some kind of way about bringing our natural abilities, our natural characteristics as women, nurturers or caring, or that motherly instinct that we have, to our leadership style. They'll make us feel like that's not good, or it's not bad, or it's bad, or that it doesn't work in the military. Have you guys ever experienced anything like that? Like, what has your leadership experiences been in the military? What's been your most impactful leadership experience in the military? You want to start, Dia?
That's a hard one for me, because I was a leader a long time, but as I reflect when you were talking and thinking about that instinct, after becoming a mother, there was one particular when I was a first sergeant, and because naturally I wasn't like that, because I had these men I was leading. But I had an HHC as a first sergeant. So I finally got some diversity, and there was the young man, he was a repeated PT failure. And one day we were running PT and a lighter fell out of his pocket. And I said, "Well, that's why you can't make the PT run, man. You got to cut, you smoking on the run, Because I had to learn to lead, differently, with humor. And so I began to take up some time with him. And turned out you just need to take up some time with him. So he finally passed his run. And then I found out how he was living. He had been PCS from Germany, had not unpacked his stuff in a year. So that led to other things, But it was that kind of motherly instinct that was telling me, this is more than just the PT test. Let me dig deeper in it. I'm going to do a room inspection. And then I found out about that. I said, "Now listen, the next time I come here, I want to see this stuff unpacked. And I want to see, you know, it wasn't about a clean room at that point. It was about getting him to see his quarters as his home at least, because he lived in the barracks. And, you know, just as I was making really good progress, and there were some people saying, man, you just, man, he all right. You stop babying him. And I'm not babying, I'm just trying to figure out why this dude been in his, and I can say dude now because I'm retired, but we could say that. But why has he been in his room a whole year and not unpacked? Why is his household good box is still packed? And just about the time I was digging after it, you know, unfortunately, he got killed in a car accident. So, but I was questioned. I was questioned as to like, you spending too much time with this soldier? Nah, this is a 3-time PT fair. You're talking about putting him out of the Army for something that we didn't take. All it took for me to do is just run PT with him a couple of times, make him take his lighter out of his PT pocket, and get just a positive attitude about things. So sometimes an instinct may be viewed as coddling the soldiers, and I say kids because I used to call them my kids. But it's actually real leadership. It really is real leadership. Just digging into it.
Wow. Your story is kind of like mine. I had a soldier who, she started gaining weight, female soldier. She started gaining weight and she couldn't pass her PT test either. And it was just so many different things. And they wanted to put her out as well. She'd failed 3 times. And the particular place that I was over the physical therapy clinic, and so I had to be there. So I didn't run PT with her because the clinic had to be open too. There was only 2 of us. She had to go out in PT, so I couldn't see her performance at the time. And so I began to just kind of take her up, and I went out and did PT one time, and I was like, I heard her wheezing, and I wasn't a nurse at the time, but I heard her wheezing. I'm like, so how long has that been happening? So just going back and treating them as people and finding out, and then she had other things that she was dealing with. Her husband didn't have it. He wasn't working. They had twins at home. She was like maybe 20, 21 at the time. She came in as a PSC. She had a degree. She had an associate's. He had never finished high school, didn't have a GED, and so he was a stay-at-home dad. Do you understand the pressure that she was under to perform? And they're talking about putting her out. So it was my time to go to bat for her. She's an awesome soldier. She's an awesome person. Let's find out what's going on. And so when I found out, you know, the things that were going on with her, I was able to go to bat for her. So we got to see people as people, not as a rank. You know, when I transitioned to the officer side and we had all the patients in the clinic and all that, I don't see you as a colonel and I don't see you as a private. I see you as a person who needs care, and that's what I'm here for. And so a lot of people didn't like that, but it is what it is. It's who I am, and I can't and I won't change that for anybody. And so seeing people where they are and getting down into those things, and that actually carried me through. And so, you know, when I transitioned over, the officer side and the enlisted really worked together really well for me, because I had the enlisted who came to me and pointed out that I was a different type of leader, but it was because I had the experience from the other side. And I used all of those characteristics all together to present who I was. And they respected that. And they came to me when they wouldn't go to other people.
A lot of people considered me as a mother. I came in at like 18, and the guys would always say, Mama D, what you think about this? And I'm like, I'm the same age as you. Like, what you think about it? But because I care. That's where that came from, because I genuinely cared. And you can tell when someone genuinely cares about you and wants to hear what you have to say. I just PCS from Germany, came here to first CAV. I was nervous because I was like, I hear they got to be squared away. I'm nervous. I don't know if I can handle that. But I got here, and upon arriving here, there are a lot of things that have taken place at Fort Hood. A lot of bad things. It was seen in a negative light. So my one soldier, I used to always tell him, if it's 5 minutes till formation, do not call my phone. Go ahead and text, because I'm out the car and I'm in formation. Go ahead and text me and let me know you didn't make it. Okay, because you're going to be called out of ranks. So my soldier did not show up to the 0630 PT formation. So when I got back in the car, I looked at my phone. I'm like, dang, he didn't text. Where is he at? So 09 formation got here, and still my soldier ain't even show up, because I'm thinking, well, he didn't make it to 6:30. He going to be here for the 9 o'clock. He did not make it to the 9 o'clock formation. So now I'm like, okay, I need somebody to go with me to the barracks, because if you know a little history about Fort Hood, a lot of suicides, deaths. So I took one of the male soldiers and we went to his room. We bammed on that door and no one would answer. So now, because the Army had changed a lot by this time, first sergeants didn't have control of the barracks anymore. So now we had to go to a civilian. So the civilian was more so like nonchalant about it. Okay, we'll get there. So by the time they made it there, opened up, my soldier was passed out on the bed. So I'm nervous, because I'm like, oh my God. He did not die, but he was so wasted, drunk, that when he did take the test at the police office, at the MP station, the police officer, the MP, was telling him, you should be dead. You know that? And at that moment, it didn't even bother him. I think he really wanted to die. So whenever I got a chance, I talked to him. He didn't get dressed for work. He had on his civilian clothes. And he was like, Sergeant Davidson, I really appreciate everything you do for me, and I respect you and everything, but I'm not going to work. I'm ready to get out the military. And I said, well, this is not the way to do it. You're going to have to put on your uniform. You got to go to work. You got to still show up. But he didn't. Make a long story short, he was going through, I think this was around the time that his grandfather had passed. And his grandfather is the one that raised him. So drinking, all of that stuff was because his grandfather left him. So this has been a long time coming. And one of the NCOs came up there and cussed him out. Blue, 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 you better come. And I was like, no. This is not how we gonna handle it. Sergeant Davidson, you too soft on these soldiers. I need you to go. Because I don't need him flipping the script. I don't know what he got in that room. You know what I mean? I want to live to see another day. I need for you to leave so that I can continue talking to him. But my most impactful moment was that he did get out of the military, but it was not the way that he was about to get out the military. It was not like other than honorable. You know what I mean? So he still was able to get out. He didn't have to serve any time or anything like that. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate that he respected me enough to listen to the words that I was telling him.
I wouldn't say coddling. Coddling is a different term. Just being able to know who you are serving with and caring for the soldiers, not just mission, but caring about their welfare, caring about what's happening when they on duty, off duty, knowing your soldier is the best thing, and not just, looking over their feelings and what they have going on, and just being mindful that they are human.
I agree. I remember, I know a lot of you probably remember NTC. New E5, NTC, I'm trying to get out there. But as a leader, you have to get in the trenches. You know, I got in the trenches with my soldiers. So when I say get in the trenches, I mean we filling up sandbags, we getting those tents together. I'm not out there barking orders. I was out there, you know, hey, I'm right there beside you. Hey, I look to my right, I look to my left. Guess what? I saw my soldiers. So I remember a time where I was looking around, a couple of days went by, I'm like, man, these little PFCs and privates, they hair a little long, a little past their ears. They only been for a couple of days. I said, come here. What's going on with y'all hair? Sorry, Kia, blah, blah, blah. Oh, okay. I got some clippers. You know, I kept, keep my little buckshots together back there. So I said, well, I can, give y'all, take it all off. They was like, you can? I said, of course I can. Everybody had the same hairdo when I got through. But guess what? Just that little instance, that little time with those soldiers, we laughed. I got to know them. They got to know me. And it was a respect. Because again, we talking about males, female. I'm an 8A Mike. I didn't have that many female NCOs out there. It was predominantly male. So guess what? I had to get out there and, get it on. So my thing is, as being a good leader, you have to know your soldiers. You have to be human. You have to show your human side. It's not all about you barking orders. It's about, guess what? You listening. Sometimes how we say we put those soldiers in receive mode, we have to go in receive mode and listen to those soldiers because those soldiers are getting younger. They're coming in with problems. So guess what? They're looking to us as leaders to help guide them.
Okay, I believe I grew up as a non-commissioned officer. I became a non-commissioned officer. It's different, a sergeant and a non-commissioned officer. And I went to Qatar, a sergeant, but I left a non-commissioned officer. I had this one soldier, I just didn't like her. I just didn't like her, and she knew that. I told her every other day I didn't like her. And if I could, I would beat her up. Me and her would fight. That's how much I didn't like her, right? And it was promotion time for her. She was a squared away soldier, just some qualities about her I just didn't jive with, so every opportunity I had to write her up, I wrote her up. And I was a beast with the pen and paper. But I talked to my one of my sergeant majors about it, and he reminded me of the NCO creed. It was like, what are you gonna do, Sergeant Martin? Like, what you gonna do? Okay, I was like, I ain't gonna do nothing. Because this is why she does not deserve to be promotable, la la la. But it was personal. It didn't have anything to do with the soldiers. So I had to sit back, and for about a month, I just observed, like you said, right? And then I will audit her work personally, like bump what quality control do, because they do 10%. I want to audit her work personally. She was a squared away soldier. You know why? Because I trained her, right? Because I'm squared away. So I set her down for her counseling, getting her promotion packet together and stuff like that. She was shocked that I was submitting her promotion packet. And she was like, I thought you didn't like me. I said, girl, look, I don't even want to do this personally, but as a leader that I am, I can't deny you this. Because you, and I had to put the welfare of my soldiers before me, and I will always remain technically and tactically proficient. I had to recite that thing talking to this girl, and but during that process, I earned her respect. Because at first, she just respected the rank. I made her respect the rank, But she respected me, she said, because even with because she was horrible, y'all. But she said she learned from me how to take care of soldiers despite. She observed me. She said, the walk-in AR 670-1, you'll check anybody, don't care who it is, And that's what I did, but it showed me that it was all about the soldiers, grooming my soldiers, taking care of these soldiers, ensuring that they got their money, their families got their money, so they can go back to these United States of America safe, And when she got promoted, I was shocked. She asked me to pin her. I'm like, me? like that. I was shocked, and I was like, you know, and I told our story and how we got. I didn't like her, you know.
Very good. I was gonna just say some quotes, but walking into your platoon or your office and you see Staff Sergeant Steal Souls, that's not something you want to see. And then I asked everybody who wrote this, and nobody told me who wrote it, but I don't want to steal nobody's soul. I don't want to be that hard either. And so for me, I wore a lot of masks because I was dealing with so much. And so the second thing was having a soldier come to work with a black eye. And I told two other female, African-American female, this is an African-American girl, soldier, and I told two other female, black African-American female NCOs, one captain, one NCO, that I think she's being abused. She said she ran into a cabinet. Now, I wish she would have said something else, because that would have worked better than the cabinet. But I, too, was suffering from domestic violence, and in that same situation with the first sergeant had just moved me, you know, into a barracks room from my husband. So I knew the signs. I knew what was going on, but she said that. So I'm telling them too, and they're like, well, she said that. That's what happened. That's not what happened. So I physically counseled her on paper, saying, you're telling me that this is this, I think it's this, but I'm here for you. Like, you can do positive counseling for a negative thing to help a person. Literally, years later, as I'm finally fixing to divorce my husband, she's in the same altercation, and we lean on each other to get out. Like, literally, we're literally, I got a protective order. We had the same kind of extremes of getting away from our husbands later down the line. And to this day, you know, we're still very close. I ended up getting a childcare after the military, and I watched her daughter when I was out of the military as her childcare provider. But you gotta like stand in the gaps. And even though that word was on the wall, Staff Sergeant Steal Souls, I was wearing a mask that couldn't relate to what they were dealing with. And I had to realize that I had to come face to face and stop hiding my stuff so I could help them with their stuff.
Thank you, ladies. That was good. Wasn't that good, you guys? Yeah. This is why we really love our sisterhood chats. We get a chance to really come together and share, and just release. The Zoom is. We got some issues with the Zoom. Thank you, Ashley. But have you guys enjoyed tonight? Yes. Thank you. Well, thank you so much again for coming out. I'm just so appreciative that we're out, and after 2 years of COVID, dealing with that. Now we're out doing things live and in person, and this being our very first live session of our sisterhood chat. Did you ladies enjoy yourselves? Yes. Learn something new about each other. It's always fun. So if you guys are following us on social media, we're on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Our next sisterhood chat on Zoom will be November 10th. That is the day before Veterans Day. So make note of that. If you're following us on social media, you'll see the link where to sign up to get the Zoom link. We don't make it public because, again, our sisterhood chat is our safe space. It's 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. But you will, if you follow us on social media and our website, to us on our calendar on our website, camouflagesisters.org. Make note of that and join us. You don't have to say anything. You could just come in and listen. We have ladies that come and join us every month. They never say anything, but they listen to us as we share, and they get so much out of it. And we appreciate them who don't talk as much as we appreciate the ones who come and really need a space to vent. So that's what our sisterhood chat is all about. It's really our safe space for us to share our stories and for us to connect and learn even more about each other. Just like tonight, we come together, we laugh. Sometimes we cuss, sometimes we cry, but it's our safe space, and we just really enjoy each other so much, sharing our stories and having that safe space to share. As we wrap up, again, I just want to thank you all. I think we have some more raffles, but before we do that, do you ladies have any last parting words of thank you to our audience members who came out to join us tonight. Let's start with Dia. Thank you.
Lila, thank you for inviting me to this particular live sisterhood chat. And I want to thank the ladies from the WAC VA Chapter 94. I'm also a member of that. I wanted to say that because the Camouflaged Sisters, as Ashley put it, was my first contact in transitioning to be a woman veteran. And after you do this thing for 30 years, you don't know where you're going to go. You don't know what you're going to do. Yes. So it's important. It's really important to find a connection. And I didn't mean to do that. But I'm telling you, 30 years, I'm serving more than longer than I've been an adult. And I served with men. I'm serious. I served with men. So to find some women to connect with, to find some women that care about me. And these two great organizations, they're doing that. I haven't been out long, but they're doing that. And I appreciate you all. And I appreciate my sisters from the Women's Army Corps Veterans Association. So let me just stop. But it's been wonderful. Thank you all for doing this.
I remember when Dia first got out and she ran across us, she told us she didn't like women. That's only because she hadn't served with women. She hadn't served with women, but she's been a true advocate. She is a lifetime member of Camouflaged Sisters, and she came in strong. And she shared her story, and her story is still evolving. So we're so proud to just be associated with Sergeant Major. That's what we call her, Sergeant Major. We love her so much. But again, I just want to thank you ladies for coming out and just really always being transparent, just from the books to every time we get an opportunity to share our story, for you to find the courage to share these stories. I know they're not easy, and I tell people that all the time. I really take protecting our space of sharing seriously, as you all know, because I know these stories are tough. They're tough to share. We put ourselves out there to be judged by people who don't really know. All they get is a little chapter or a little snippet of the real story. But there's so much more. Our stories are so layered, ladies. And if you ever get an opportunity, like I think one of the ladies said, if you get an opportunity to write, we advocate for journaling. Journaling is a healthy tool to get those words out on paper. Maybe everybody is not meant to publish their story, but journaling is a healthy tool for the VA now uses it in counseling, as many of us know. But journaling is something that we advocate for. Any opportunity to share your story, even at the VA, take time to talk to the old vets and share your story. That's a chance to share your story. But our stories are so valuable, ladies. Take the opportunity to share your story. Take the time to share your story to inspire someone and motivate someone and touch someone with our journeys as women veterans. We have a lot to share. So again, thank you ladies for joining us tonight. I'm going to turn it over to Ashley so she can raffle off the gift basket. Get your raffle tickets out. Get ready. Again, thank you audience for coming out and supporting us. I know many of you drove in from a long way, Colleen, many of you. So thank you again for joining us. And to our people on Zoom. Did the computer die? Yeah, okay. So, all right.
All right, did anybody want to buy any more raffle tickets that came in late? It was $5 for 6 and $10 for 15. You would like to get one? You can come on up.
So while we're doing that, we just also want to say a huge thank you to AVAFest for this platform. To Glenn and his yes, absolutely.
Has everybody signed my book?
Yes, we got them up there.
Oh, Shirley didn't sign.
We got one more person to sign your book. But we
Just in case.
we want to thank AVAFest for this AVAFest platform, for our partnership with them, and for supporting Camouflaged Sisters. It has been what they're doing is amazing to help minimize and reduce suicide amongst veterans. And what we are doing with all the proceeds from our ticket sales, as well as the donations that our vendors gave us, we're going to present AVAFest a check at the end of AVAFest to go towards their nonprofit organization that. Okay, here you go.
Okay, good evening, ladies. I am the vice chair for AVAFest and for the Veteran Suicide Prevention Channel. So from us giving y'all this platform, we actually help people prevent suicide. From journaling to actually performing to, this is one of our stages for plays. So every year for 30 days, we actually do AVAFest. And the benefit of AVAFest, for everybody that doesn't know, one is called the Austin Veterans Arts Festival. And so we promote for veterans and their family members to be able to express themselves in any kind of performance, from poetry to dancing. So we actually make sure we have an outlet for everyone. And so now that we have provided an outlet to not just Austin, we do events in Round Rock and Temple. We're coming to Killeen. We just haven't got there yet, but I'm sorry, we'll be there tomorrow night because there's a play tomorrow night. So we just want y'all to know that we are here. Whenever you need us, you can find any of us on our website. We have a website, we have a Roku channel, we have a health and wellness network. We have the avafest.org, so if you need anything from us, we are here for you. But since the founder couldn't be here because he's a little under the weather, you have the vice chair here with you to make sure that everything is okay. So thank you all for everything that y'all do. Thank you for making sure that everything runs like it should be for the Camouflaged Sisters, but we appreciate everything you do.
Thank you.
And this is just something we do. We're here to provide platforms for whenever you need it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to hand the microphone over to Ashley so she can raffle off all the goodies we have up here. So get your raffle tickets out. All right, so the first winner, I'm going to do it like this.
I don't have it up there.